Hi, my name is Ryan O'Connell and welcome to this training video, creating a blob storage account. In this training video, we're going to discuss what is Azure Blob. We'll create a blob storage account, we'll work with some blobs, and then we'll clean up our resources. What is Azure Blob? Azure Blob Storage is Microsoft's object storage solution. Blob storage is optimized for storing massive amounts of unstructured data. Unstructured data is the data that doesn't adhere to a particular model or definition, such as text or binary data. What is Azure Blob designed for? It's designed for serving images or documents directly to a browser, storing files for distributed access, streaming video and audio, writing to log files, and storing data for backups and restore, disaster recovery, and archiving. Blobs, each blob can be a different size, up to a maximum of 100 MB or megabytes. It's used for storing text files such as documents and media files. Page blobs are a collection of 512 megabyte pages which provide the ability to read and write arbitrary ranges of bytes, ideally for virtual machines and databases. Append blobs, an append blob is comprised of blocks and is optimized for append operations, usually for activities like logging. More on blob storage. Blob storage supports Azure Data Lake Gen 2, Microsoft's enterprise big data analytics solution for the cloud. Azure Files offers a fully managed cloud file share you can access from anywhere via the industry standard message block protocol, or SMB. You can mount Azure file shares from the cloud or on-prem deployments of Windows, Linux, and Mac OS. Microsoft Azure Storage Explorer is a standalone app that makes it easy to work with Azure storage data on Windows, Mac, or Linux, and Azure are in the process now of embedding this into the portal, which is fantastic. So that's something exciting. The hot access tier, out of the 3 tiers, the hot access tier has the lowest cost but the highest storage cost. The hot access tier would be most suited for scenarios where data is frequently accessed for reading and writing, what we would use every day, file sharing and that type of thing. The cool access tier is used for data that is not often accessed, which enables this tier to store data at a much lower cost. Cool storage is ideal for short-term backups and data that should be accessible immediately when required, but is not needed regularly. Again, I encourage you to have a look at that hyperlink at the bottom there. Go to the Microsoft.com services storage blobs, and then you'll actually get a lot more detailed information about blob storage. The archive access tier is particularly interesting because the data is offline and cannot be accessed immediately. The data stored in this tier would have several hours of retrieval latency, which has a higher retrieval cost but a low storage cost compared to the other 2 tiers. Therefore, this tier is most suitable for storing long-term backups and data which needs to be preserved in its original raw state, even though the data can be processed to its final form. The best example is CCTV footage. To read the data that's stored in the archive access tier, this tier should be changed to either hot or cool. Again, I've got the hyperlink there just as a reminder so that you can go and do some more exploring and find out more about Azure Blobs. Replacing tape. Any advocate will rule out that cloud storage cannot compete with tape's low-cost pricing tiers. However, a well-experienced e-discovery lawyer will guarantee that tape storage is not ideal and is extremely expensive in litigation scenarios. The process of archiving unstructured data is revolutionizing long-term data management. With its intelligent secondary storage environment, using Azure Blobs to store business data to deliver huge advantages. By using blob storage, data becomes redundant and self-healing, and due to the options for shadow copying and geo-redundancy and more. So it's really robust and reliant. So it's definitely the way to go. Remember, we have some basic costs involved. Pay-as-you-go pricing for blobs, scalable object storage for documents, videos, pictures, and unstructured text data or binary data. You can choose from the different tiers, hot, cold, or archive. Again, the cost differs with each tier, so be sure to check what your needs are. Here's an example. As you can see, the premium costs, the hot costs, the cool costs, and the archive costs. And as you can see, the hot storage for us is only $1.39 per gig, and we're talking about New Zealand dollars. So it's something that you need to explore and have a look in your country or in your region to confirm the pricing. But do your maths and do your sums, and you'll find that it works out to be a really cost-effective solution. Again, some things to know: the types of data that you can use Blob for: photos, JPEGs, PNG, bitmaps. You can use documents, text, Word, Excel, and more. We can have files, we can store logs, we can store video and audio files, as well as backups for virtual machines, VFD disks, and a whole lot more. The type of blobs we have again block blobs, page blobs, append blobs. We have 3 tiers: hot, cool, and archive. Some of the advantages of using Blob: they're low cost tier storage, it's high availability, strong consistency, disaster recovery capabilities, it's scalable, it's durable, it's secure, it's optimized for data lakes, it has flexible pricing to meet your needs, and it has worldwide access from any browser, from any location. So I hope this gives you a basic understanding of what blobs are. If you want to know more, again, I would encourage you to go and have a look at the pricing details. Here's the link. Go again, do a bit of research on the Microsoft website, and you can really dive into blobs. I mean, blob storage is really huge. You could do a whole video training course just on blobs. So enough said, let's move over to our portal and let's go and create our first blob storage account. Hi, as you can see, I've gone ahead and logged into the portal. So the first thing we want to do is create a storage account. You can select storage account from the drop down menu here or from your side menu. If you don't see it there, just go into the top and type in STOR and select storage account. So I'm going to click create, and I'm going to go ahead and create a storage account. Again, I'm going to select my resource group, which is Blob Access. I'm going to go ahead and paste in my storage account called Auckland Blob. I'm going to go next. Again, I'm going to leave it at version 1.2. If you notice, we've got version 1.1 and 1.0. These are legacy versions, and I think they're there for backwards compatibility. But you always want to go with the latest version, so we're going to select the latest version, and we're going to leave it at version 1.2. Click Next on the Networking tab. Again, we've got public endpoints, we've got selected networks, we've got private endpoints, and of course we've got our routing, and this determines how traffic travels from Azure to your customer. So I'm going to leave it at Microsoft routing for now and go next. Now next we are presented with data protection, and by default we can change these. By default it's 7 days. We can change this to 1 day, 30 days, 60 days, whatever you want to do. Soft deletes enables you to recover data that was previously marked for deletion, or that data that was accidentally overwritten. So in a real world, you'd want to leave soft deletes enabled. In our case, I'm going to take it off because we're not too concerned about it, because we're going to delete our resources and clean up after us. Again, we're not too concerned about tracking. I'm going to click Next to move on to the tag section, and then I'm going to click Review and Create. And this is going to go away and do a validation process on that storage account. As you can see, the validation has passed, and I'm going to go ahead and click Create. And this is going to take a few moments to deploy and create, so we'll wait while this quickly creates. As you can see, we've now successfully deployed that storage resource. So we're going to go ahead and click Go to Resource, and this is where we create our blobs. Now, are we doing a container? Are we doing files, tables, or queues? So let's go ahead and create a file share. So I'm going to click File Share. I'm going to click Add a File Share, and I'm going to give this file share a name. I'll call it a NZL File Share 01. I'm going to give it a quota of 1 GB. Again, we can choose between hot or cool or premium depending on your subscription. I'm going to select hot from here and click Create. And this is going to go ahead and create that file share. Once that file share has been created, we can go ahead and add some folders in here, or add a file in here. In our case, I'm going to go ahead and add a directory. Think of a directory as a folder. I'll just call this Docs and click OK, and this will create that folder called Docs. If I select on that folder to open it up, and we can go ahead and upload some information. So I could go ahead and I'd browse to my C drive. I'll grab this PDF and then I would click upload. If I had an existing document there that I wanted to overwrite, I would click overwrite that, and I would click upload, and this would go ahead and upload that document for us. So I'm going to go ahead and close that down, and as you can see, that document has uploaded. If I navigate back to my blob storage and I go to Storage Explorer, which is fantastic, this is now built in. Before, this wasn't built in, and this is great because we can come straight here and we can access our resources. We can upload resources directly from here. By double clicking on that folder, that will open up that folder for us. I could go ahead and create stuff again by right mouse clicking on there and creating another file share, or right mouse clicking on there and creating a blob container called I will call this blob1, and I'll click create. And again, our blob container is where we can go ahead as well and upload files into our blob container as well, and we can do that as well with our queues and our tables. Before, if we wanted to do stuff, we could go ahead and open that up in Storage Explorer, and we would click OK, and this would take us to the Microsoft website, and we would have to go ahead and download Storage Explorer. And once Storage Explorer has been downloaded, then we install it on our server and then connect to our Azure. But it's really good that this is now built into the portal because it gives us so much more flexibility. So if I went into my NZ file share, I double clicked on that and I said, okay, I wanted to download that document. I could just click download, and we could let that download, and that document would download for us, and I could say open up that document, and there's my PowerPoint slide on the Azure that lesson that we just did earlier on. So I'm going to go ahead and close that down, and I'll click here to exit from there. I'll go back to my storage. So what we want to do now is clean up our resources. How do we delete a storage account? How do we get rid of our resources? So that's pretty easy. All we want to do is go to storage accounts. We actually want to select the storage account we want to delete, and it's pretty easy. We just say delete. Now, bear in mind, when we delete the storage account, it's going to delete all the blobs, the files, the tables, and the queues. So be very careful on what it is you're deleting. So I'm going to highlight the name here and click copy, and I'm going to paste the name into here. And I'm going to press the delete button, and this is going to go ahead and delete that storage account for us so that we can clean up our resources so that we've got our next lab that we want to do. And we'll just give it a second to delete, and as you can see, we've got a notification here saying that it has successfully been deleted. So I hope you've learned a lot in this training video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. If you do delete your account and you still see it here, just click the refresh button, and then your deleted storage account will no longer be there. So again, thank you for subscribing to my YouTube channel. Thank you for watching the video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video lesson.